With the release of Episode 6, South Park Season 26 has officially come to an end, and despite some of the controversy and disagreement amongst the community, I believe that this episode left us off at a very high note to lead us into the upcoming season. At the beginning of this episode, we start off by seeing Sheila and Shelly leaving for a spring break trip, and in classic Randy fashion, he is beyond excited because him and Stan get to go a whole week with no rules. And to celebrate this, Randy takes off his clothes. Anyway, Randy wants to spend this whole week breaking rules with Stan, but the only rule Stan is interested in breaking is
playing Warhammer on the kitchen table.
Because Stan and Token want to play a board game instead of partying like Randy did as a college student, he begins to blame the woke liberal left for making Stan ashamed to be a boy. Where have I heard this before? To counteract what Randy believes society is doing to Stan and Token, he hires police officers to come entertain Stan and Token. Neither of the boys are interested, which prompts Randy to splash water onto the shirt of one of these police officers. Obviously, she gets upset, which is how we are finally introduced to the man of the hour.
I'm Top G.
That's right, none other than Andrew Tate appears in defense of his female worker who was just covered in water. He then pulls a gun on Randy, but Randy calms the situation by explaining to him that he is simply trying to help his son embrace being a man, despite today's toxic culture telling him he shouldn't be. This drives Tate to want to help Randy by throwing a big party with even more women. Throughout this party, Randy desperately tries to get Stan and Token involved, but all they're interested in is their board game. This is until the actual police arrive. Randy, being Randy, mistakes one of the officers as one of Andrew Tate's police officers and assaults her, leading to Randy being tased and put in handcuffs. While this is happening, the other officer recognizes Tate, except he doesn't call him by his actual name. Instead, he refers to him as,
"That's Alonzo Vaninsky, the Romanian sex trafficker!"
He refers to Tate as Alonzo Vaninsky, which I assume is Matt Stone and Trey Parker trying not to inflate the ego of Andrew Tate, which obviously didn't work, as Tate had this to say on Twitter. Tate and the police officers get into a shootout where Tate shoots one of the officers. After all of this commotion, we see Randy laying on the couch as people from the party are leaving. He's hilariously still wearing the handcuffs the officer put on him. As he's laying on the couch, he's watching the TV, and Mr. Garrison, who has been rallying for president in the other plot of this episode, is on the TV giving a speech. Garrison's heartfelt speech about mistreating his boyfriend Rick and how we all have that special someone in our life who keeps us from destroying ourselves makes Randy realize that he doesn't want to party, he wants to be with his wife Sharon. So he decides to call Sharon and beg her to come back home, which is actually a pretty wholesome moment to see Randy, who's normally a wild, crazy, and ungrateful person, to finally have a moment of clarity about what's truly important to him. I was a huge fan of the season 26 finale, and I honestly don't know which plot I liked more, because Mr. Garrison had a pretty hilarious relapse of his former self. If you want to hear more about where Mr. Garrison and Rick were during this episode, click on this video here where I cover the second plot of this final episode. Thank you so much for watching, and have a blessed day.
I'm Top G.